What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at Tombstone, directed by George P. Cosmatos, written by Kevin Jari, starring Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Bill Paxton, Sam Elliott, and a slew of other recognizable names that this movie has. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of westerns. I like them. I'm not rabid for them. I only relatively recently got into westerns about going to be 7 years ago, and that was because of Django Unchained, and that's mostly because I was a Tarantino fan. So because of Django, that got me interested in the western genre. Of course, from watching Django, I discovered Tombstone, and after seeing this movie now multiple times, I can honestly say this is a damn good movie. I love Tombstone. I don't just like this movie because of the acting, which is sensational. Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp is fantastic. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday is fantastic. Sam Elliott looks like he belongs. The man just has the look of somebody who was born to have been living in the Old West. The man has an Old West look, even when you see him down the street in real life. He is a perfect fit for that Old West age. And you got Bill Paxton who fits it perfectly as well. You have a slew of other actors. You got Powers Booth as the entertaining Curly Bill. I love Powers Booth as Curly Bill. He's hilarious. You have Michael Biehn, who played Kyle Reese in Terminator. He plays Johnny Ringo, Juanito. And I love the rivalry that develops between Ringo and Doc Holliday. Some of their exchange of quips is funny, very, very funny. It has a nice dry humor, has a nice tension-filled humor to it. I think Kilmer and Biehn actually play well off one another in those scenes as well. Very underrated. Yeah, this movie has a slew of just awesome actors, and they all play the roles perfectly, and they all fit this time period perfectly. But what really impresses me about this movie is the attention, the detail. This is an exquisite-looking movie. William A. Fraker's photography of this movie is exquisite. He and George P. Cosmatos together, those two just create these beautiful landscape shots, and the visual presentation of this movie is fantastic. You have a lot of sunset stops that look like paintings, and it's just gorgeous. Not only that, their attention to detail when it comes to creating the Old West is fantastic. The production design of this movie is A+. The costume design is A+. It looks like you're watching a movie that was made during the era of the Old West, even though that technology didn't even exist yet. The attention to detail in this movie is fantastic. The gunfights in this movie are exhilarating. They're fun to watch. The bantering that takes place during the gunfights are very entertaining. One of my unsung heroes in this movie has got to be Stephen Lang as Ike Clanton, who comes into conflict with Wyatt Earp a lot of times during this movie, and I just love how he plays this bumbling buffoon coward whenever the shit hits the fan, and Stephen Lang just plays it off so well. I like how he talks a big game, but when he has a gun to his head, he starts like, "Oh, don't kill her, don't do it." Stephen Lang is one of my favorite unsung heroes of this movie. His performance throughout the film is hilarious. He does a great job. Everyone in this movie, like I said, does a great job. Like I said, Kurt Russell, he commands the screen as Wyatt Earp. I also like the romance that develops with him and another character named Josephine. I thought that was well done. I like the friendship between him and Doc Holliday. Kurt Russell and Kilmer have got good on-screen chemistry, and I buy them as friends. Russell, Paxton, and Elliott, I buy all those three as being very close brothers and lawmen. They work so well off one another. I like it a lot. The overall story to this movie is very simple, very easy to follow. This group called the Cowboys, they're taking over the small town of Tombstone. Wyatt Earp and his boys come to town. Initially, not looking to be in the law. They just want to make a business for themselves. But once things get out of hand, they have no choice but to become the law in a lawless town in order to fight off the Cowboys. So, very simple story. Very, very simple, straight to the point story. No different than how a John Wayne movie would have played out back in the day. And That's another thing why I like Tombstone a lot. It it goes back to that John Wayne era of westerns where it's just basic storytelling. You know, the stranger comes to town, he changes the town for the better or for the worse. It depends on how you look at it. In this case, it's for the better. You know, and not only that, it's based on historical, inspired by historical events. You know, Wyatt Earp was a real lawman back in the day, back in the Old West, and he fought the group called the Cowboys. And I like how this movie, they do a good job at reenacting the key moments. You know, like the gunfight at the OK Corral and the Earp Vendetta ride that take place during the films. I like how they recreate those things, and it looks authentic. It looks great, and I love it. I don't have a whole lot of negatives to say about this movie mainly because this movie doesn't really have a lot of negatives to me. You know, everything is just, it's very tightly written, it's very tightly paced, it's never boring. The actors all fit the roles perfectly. The chemistry is on point. The action is fun. The set design is fantastic. This team just does a great job at bringing the Old West to life, when you're doing a Western, one of the first things you gotta do when doing a Western, the costumes and the set design needs to be on point, and Tombstone does that expertly, which is why I'm giving this movie a perfect 10 out of 10. This movie is fantastic to me. Production design is fantastic. Costume designs are on point. The acting is awesome all across the board. The action scenes are exhilarating and entertaining. Everyone in the cast seems to be enjoying what they're doing. The cinematography is gorgeous. The direction is solid and on point, and George P. Cosmatos gets the best out of every single actor in this movie, from the major roles to a small role by Billy Bob Thornton, who gets punked out by Wyatt Earp at the beginning, which is great. And we also get a Billy Zane sighting as an actor, who's playing an actor that comes to the town of Tombstone. So yeah, I love Tombstone, 10 out of 10. This movie's fantastic, one of my favorite Westerns, in my very low list of Westerns. So yeah, if you like or hate Tombstone, let me know in the comment sections below. Like this video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.